Very good evening to you and welcome to Korero, a platform for big conversation. My name is Godwin Sunday. Well, we have quite a lot of conversation for you tonight, but we'll take a short break right now. When we return, we'll dive into the conversation. Please stay with us. You're welcome back. Now, let's even give you a background for tonight's conversation. Well, the conversation around professionalism in Nigerian security sector has never been more urgent. Nigeria operates one of the largest security workforces in Africa, but the numbers don't match the outcome. The Nigerian police force has an estimated strength of 371,800 officers serving a population of 236.7 million people. Now that's roughly around one officer to 636 people, well below the United Nations recommended ratio of 1 to 450. Even worse, over 100,000 of those officers are deployed to protect VIPs and politicians, leaving many communities under-policed. Alongside the police, Nigerians' private security industry has become a parallel workforce. As of 2024, over 1,100 licensed firms employ more than 1 million guards, while an estimated 2 million operate informally. Combined with 700,000 government security personnel, the entire sector employs over 40 million Nigerians. Yet, Nigerians still ranks 148 out of 160 countries on the global 2025 Global Peace Index. Professionalism here means more than numbers. It means discipline. It means integrity, it means competence, it means accountability and respect for human rights under the Nigerian Police Act 2020 and the 2026 police regulations. It means training that matches the threats and welfare that reduces corruption and abuse. The stakes are high. Between May 2023 and November 2025, armed groups killed at least 10,217 people, with Benue and Plateau accounting for over 9,500 deaths. In the northeast alone, the Boko Haram ISWAP insurgency has killed over 40,000 people and displaced about 2 million, if the figure is not even more than that, since 2009, I beg your pardon. Now, insecurity is now a direct threat to livelihoods, food security and the credibility of the 2027 elections. Tonight, we dig into what professionalism actually looks like on the ground. Joining me are Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, a security analyst, and Dr. Mike Ejiofor, a security expert. And we will be examining why Nigerian security architecture is producing quantity without quality, and what reforms in training, accountability and welfare are needed to even close that gap. Well, Prof. and Dr. Ejiofor, it's a delight to have you join me on Korero.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, let me begin with Dr. Ejiofor. The Nigerian Police Act 2020 is the main law governing policing in Nigeria. Right? It replaced the colonial era policing of Act of 1943 and was designed specifically to improve professionalism, accountability and respect for human rights. However, experts say the act is strong on paper, but implementation lacks. Let's get you react to this. What's your general take on the generality of the Police Act 2020?
Well, glad to be here again, and let me make this correction. I'm not a doctor. I'm just Mike Ejiofor.
Noted.
I'm very impressed, with your station and the analysis you made, in your intro. We have challenges in the country. Nobody is arguing that. Like you said in your intro, United Nations statistics is 1 policeman to 450,000. 450, I'm sorry. Now, what do we have in Nigeria? Our population is over 200 million. And we have less than 300,000 policemen. Because when you said, you recall that the president some time ago ordered the IG to withdraw all the details attached to VIPs. And the IG, to the best of my knowledge, talked about withdrawing 11,000. And former chairman of the Police Service Commission once told us that we have over 120,000 deployed. So has that directive been complied with? The answer, of course, is no. And you're talking of professionalism, the Police Act. How can you be professional when you don't have adequate manpower? You don't have funds for training. The welfare of the police is nothing to write home about. So how do you talk of professionalism goes with training, welfare, and all the likes. The police image is very down, and that's why I must encourage the new Inspector General of Police to look at the conduct of his men, to build confidence. It's only when you build confidence that we now start talking of professionalism, and it's only when you are professional that you can gain the confidence of the people. A situation where human rights are abused, and you look at people, you have no rights, you have no respect for their rights. People are arrested, dumped in the cell without prosecution. The Constitution provides that within 24 hours, where you have courts, you must charge the person to court, or maximum 48 hours. But the situation where you have clear minor cases, simple offenses, people are detained for more than they would have ordinarily served if they were convicted. So professionalism goes with a lot of things. It's good you are talking about it, but the government must also try to professionalize the police, not the police on its own, by training, welfare, accommodation. Go to the barracks. There's nothing to write home about. So you don't expect people working on such difficult conditions to be professional.
Well, Prof, let me bring this to you. In February 2026, the federal government gazetted the Nigerian Police Regulation Amendment under Section 138 of the Police Act 2020. The Minister of Police Affairs, Senator Ibrahim Gaidan, said the regulations are a transformative instrument to strengthen accountability, professionalism, transparency, and citizen-focused policing. The IGP also pledged full implementation. Is this really the case?
Well, that is not the case, because we started from a faulty foundation, which I have been expressing every time. And if these faulty foundations are not reversed, there is no way you are going to get a yielded result. We are only producing papers that are just papers which you cannot implement because there are already circumstances that will make you not to implement them. One, where did the policing start from? What adequate policing procedures are we following? What orientation have they gotten all over time? How have we sensitized our police? What are the issues of training? Because you have to sensitize the people before you start talking of training. Some of them don't even know why they are police officers or policemen. So we must build a foundation where you believe in the organization before you start thinking of confidence. And if you don't believe in an organization, you cannot have confidence in that organization. So who peruse this documents that becomes a regulation or an act or a law? What professional touch has it? What effect has it on the people and the officers you are making these rules for? What is the trust index? Because you can never trust a Nigerian police because you don't believe in him, you don't have confidence in him. So there can never be trust. And when there is no trust, such person cannot protect you. You only take somebody who you trust to protect you. So it watered down to where we are today and how we have improved. We have not improved because we have not followed the police networks. And policing has to follow a police network.
Quite interesting, Prof. Let me come back to Mr. Mike. The Human Rights Association, HRA, in its recent report affirmed that there have been a rise in extortion, extrajudicial killings and abuse of uniform in the rank and file, even within the Nigerian security architecture in itself. But then, how will you react to this assertion?
Well, it's completely correct, because I travel by road. If you travel between Okene and Auji, for instance, you have more than 13 checkpoints. And I ask why. You would think it's because of security concerns. I can tell you that all they are busy doing on the road there is extorting money from people, checking particulars. No, this is not what they're supposed to do. I was in Enugu State recently. From Upi, Nsukka to Enugu main town, you will not see one single police checkpoint. All you have, minimum of 1 kilometer patrol vehicles mounted with cameras. They don't stop anybody. This is the way to go. This is where we should go. You have seen cases of extrajudicial killings, the one that happened in Delta, when someone, in the full glare of the camera, shot somebody dead because he was accused of having or courier of arms. So all these things boil down to lack of professionalism. If people are professional, for you to use arms, there are rules for using arms. You can only use your arms if your life is in danger or the person is escaping. It must be felony. Is escaping custody for a felony, not just ordinary simple offenses and a misdemeanor. But a situation where you see, at times I see policemen at my risk. I challenge them on the road. You say somebody will just call. I say, what are you? Well, am I an armed robber? Why must you cock your gun? Because you are asking questions. And some of them you see accidental discharges. There's nothing like that. Because if you know the rules, the professional rules of engaging, rules of engagement, standard operating procedures, if you don't cock your gun on somebody, anything you don't want to kill, or anybody you don't want to kill, you don't point your gun on that person. So the assertion by Human Rights Association is correct. There are a lot of abuses from the police.
Well, Prof, let me come to you with this question. Critics have said that the Nigerian police force problem started with the institutions that even bring these police officers to the beer. Talking about the outdated nature of the curriculum within the Nigerian police force and also other security personnel. Now, looking at even Nigerian police force, looking at their syllabus, we have the basic police science, operational tactics and training, investigation and intelligence. Then we have the general and citizens study. Critics say that this whole program is obsolete, hence we have in the kind of policing that we have in the country. But Prof, what's your position on the general structure of our security institutions in upholding professionalism?
I don't think we have a structure. I don't think we have a structure, because what we call the structure today, whether in the military, the undercover police, whatever, the corporate police and the rest, is what we borrowed from our colonial masters, which is called protective security. And if you borrow protective security, that is why a lot of people refer us to our neighbors, the Francophones. You find out that their own was also borrowed, which is called security operational management. And you can see their personnel can stand by the road and blow a whistle, and a policeman, a vehicular person will park his cars to attend to them, because it was operational management. Yeah, it's protective security, but what are you protecting? You must know what you are protecting before you say, this is what I am doing. So the first cadre of police is not protective security. Protective security is the head arms of the security network. And that is where we have gotten it wrong. And we cannot come back to the drawing board where we have to have citizen and human security, business and economic security, come to political security, environmental security, industrial security, productive security, till security and the press down till we get to protective security. So why will you start from the reverse, protective security? I can tell you for sure we have security men at your gate. Whether they are security com or adequately trained for the subject they are here for. But if one camera is missing here, which they don't know, they cannot identify, they will be arrested, and one policeman must interrogate them. Whether they have never entered the studio one day. They may not even know the entrance to the studio. I don't think in my house where I live, I don't think the security man knows my room or have ever entered my room. But if something is missing today and I report for that, they will be invited for interrogation. What are you interrogating? And why are you interrogating them? Do they have access? Do they take inventory of what is in the premises?
In essence, Prof, you're saying that the curriculum within the security structure and their institution has overstayed its welcome.
Very, very much.
So we're still using the pre-colonial times or the colonial.
That is why I said if you ask any police person now, the first thing they will tell you is protecting life and property. So whose life are you protecting? What property are you protecting?
Well, Mr. Mike, let me come back to you. You spoke about the Efuru incident where a police officer decided to go the route of the extrajudicial killing. Of course, not just the Efuru, that of the delivery rider, but we also have a situation also even in Abuja where we have Abdul Samad Jamil, the core member that was also killed in Dede. Not also forgetting Timothy Daniel, the young man in the Kodabasi that's also, just this year alone, we've recorded about 18 extrajudicial killing so far. But from 2020 till date, the number keeps rising, about 300 plus right now. But again, let's speak to the issues. Now, the whole incident, which is still very, very in our hands, is still very current. Is it a training gap that we're having right now, or intelligence gathering or coordination among security agencies that would have led to such an incident where a security officer will open arm on a civilian, an unarmed civilian in that instance?
That's the topic of our discussion. Professionalism. Some people will go to the police college and pass out. For 10, 15 years, they have not gone for any refresher training. They've not gone for any course. And if you see people guarding dignitaries, they are supposed to be exposed to constant training on weapon handling. The SSS, for instance, which is statutorily charged with VIP protection, the dignitaries are subjected to constant training, especially in terms of arms handling. But how many of them? And you don't blame the police authorities. You don't have the means, the fund for such training. And that is why, if you don't continue repeating something, it becomes part of you. You go off the track.
Why you say you don't have the funds? I understand that even in this year's budget, about 5.1 trillion naira is allocated directly to the defense.
Let's not go there.
No, let's touch that angle.
Now, let me tell you. This year, 2026, is the largest budgetary allocation we have had for defense and security. You're also aware that recently a report was made that 7% only of such funds, budgetary allocations, were released for defense and security. So it's not enough for you to make such budgets without commensurate matching of release of funds. So it becomes very difficult when you say you are budgeted. Okay, we are running 3 concurrent budgets at the same time. Where is it done? Where is it done? You are operating 2024, 25, 26 at the same time, and the funds are not released. But people are concerned because security is the primary purpose of government. Without security, there is nothing anyone can do. So otherwise, if you look at other subsectors, agriculture, is it power, energy, all of them, things are not working well, and politicians are not ready to look into our security. They are busy campaigning and playing politics, but they've forgotten that without Nigeria, there won't be any place for them to play their politics.
Well, interesting times. Let's look at Prof, let me bring this to you. Looking at the budget for defense, you want to quickly react to the budget in terms of its implementation. Could this be the reason why professionalism has been stalled so far in the country?
I don't think the issue of the budget we are talking of is something of this year or last year or so. So all these years, what has happened? We didn't have insecurity challenges just this year or last year or 2 years ago. But my own insight is this. If we are saying that the security organizations are relying on the federal government to give them allocations, then we are making a mistake. Because in most of the public indices, Nigerian security organization can generate 150 trillion naira. So why are you relying on the budget? Why are we not thinking out of the box? Are the security comms surviving without budget? We don't want to secure Nigeria. They are not professionals. They are not trained. They don't have the techniques. They don't have the technology. So they should excuse themselves why people will come in. Before the British security and policing setup become what it is, they have to bring Smith, who was just a professional, to adequately bring the policing to what it is, or the security to what it is today. And the security organizations in Britain generate their own funds. I have not seen a situation in Nigeria why, after my studies in Nigeria, that you cannot, the security organization cannot generate 150 trillion. And if the act or the constitution has said that if you generate, you can take 30% of what you generated, if that is true and it's implementable, that means you have 30-something trillion on your palm. About 35 trillion on your palm. So you can do whatever you want to do. That is when policing becomes, because security is a very big market in the world. Most countries survive on what security generated. They are not ready to tell you. And it is bigger than oil and gas. We are not ready to exploit it because we are ready to fall back, and that is why we have VIPs this thing. I won't give any governor or any senator security protection. For what? If you know you won an election, go back to your contours. How many senators in America goes with security protections? How many? How many governors goes with? So it's not a terrain. We are discussing we are looking for a solution, and we have to go into what will bring solutions to us.
Well, Prof, let me come to Mr. Mike. A lot of Nigerians are asking at this point, at what point should a security personnel batter a citizen? At what point? Because we've seen a lot of unprofessional conduct even on the screen. Just recently we've seen viral videos of all of. So you are within your security expert. At what point should the security personnel manhandle or hit or batter a citizen?
There's no point. At no point would that happen. Except when you are going for arrest and the arrest is resisted. When you can use maximum force or minimum force to effect such arrest. But unnecessary battery of members of the public should not be tolerated anywhere. You know, reference to what Prof said about generation of funds by the police, who have what is called police reward fund. But that means some money generated are paid into police reward fund. That if any policeman dies or a policeman carries an act of bravery, you reward such person from such funds. Does it still exist? When I joined the police, we had police reward fund. But who knows if it exists now? It exists on paper or in the pockets of the authorities. That is, the Constitution has not provided that the police should generate funds, but it's an idea that can be sold to government, that police should generate funds and become self-sustaining.
But could extortion also mean a major way of generating funds?
No. See, like provision of security to the banks, oil companies, they pay money, they pay. But where do such money go to? They go into private pockets of police top hierarchy, and that means corruption. But if it is institutionalized, that such monies are paid and percentage given out, it should be passed into law. The police cannot on its own just take such a unilateral decision.
It's very, very worrisome when we look at all of this, because the way at which Nigerian police sometimes stop people on the road and all of those conversations which a lot of Nigerians are turning a blind eye to, and that become like a norm in the country where you tend to go that route. But let's even move away from that conversation and look at the whole conversations around the professionalism of the Nigerian police force. Again, there's been speculation. Prof, let's bring this to you. There's been speculation that the police force are not being motivated enough And this is one of the things that is also affecting their morale and upholding their professionalism. And that's why what we see even on the street. Let's speak to the issues around the morale of the Nigerian police force. Are they well motivated?
It's not an issue of motivation. I asked to be engaged. That means I am dutiful to take responsibility for what it is. So, if I'm dutiful to take responsibility of what it is, what is the other man taking responsibility about? If you are a civil servant on level 4, are you looking at somebody to come and extort to remain relevant in your office? So if you are also a constable in the police, did you actually love the job? What is the scrutiny? Do we scrutinize these people before engaging them? In what environment did they come up with? One certain time I was discussing with a very tough police officer, and I was saying that you could eradicate what it is taking place now if only you can train the security officers and men on emotional intelligence and anger management. None of them knows any atom of has ever had any training on emotional intelligence and anger management. Unless these are inculcated into their mindset, what we are saying as extrajudicial killing and the rest will repeat itself. Because you are leaving your house, maybe with act of provocation from the home base, and you are taking that to your duty post, and you are armed. And before you know, you can transfer an aggression. But somebody who has been trained on emotional intelligence will also not do it. He will not do it because he knows what it takes. Then are they trained on anger management? Because they are interacting with the public every day. So at what point have you actually been? You know me for some time now. You know I never go angry.
Prof, even before I let you continue with that thought, let me even take you back a bit. You spoke about the whole issue about generating fund. Now that conversation is already generating controversies. Now one of the controversies is generating right now is the public, members of the public are asking at this point, how can the Nigerian police generate? You cited about 1 trillion naira. How can Nigerian police...
I said 150 trillion.
150 trillion. Wow, quite interesting. Yes. How can Nigerian police force generate such, even looking at all of the way it is right now?
How many by Federal Road Safety Commission, and the record of the vehicle inspection unit of which we call the VIOs, inspection officers office, you find out that we have over 50 million vehicles in Nigeria. And if you have 15 million vehicles, who is protecting these vehicles? If they are stolen, we'll look for the vehicles. If somebody is paying peanuts every month for these vehicles, how much will Nigeria generate?
Well,
now I'm just using an example. I'm not gone to other areas.
Well, let's leave that to be. Now, Mr. Mike, you also spoke about the trust fund. When you joined the Nigerian police, of course, there was a trust fund. But then, what is the value or use of the police trust fund?
No, we're talking about police reward.
Reward fund, yeah.
Police reward fund. It's different from police trust fund.
Okay.
Because a police reward fund, monies out of bravery and all this are contributed so that policemen who either die in service or have carried out acts of bravery are rewarded from that fund. But I'm not sure it exists. I want to be proved wrong by the police. Such thing motivates people and encourages professionalism. You see in some occasions where policemen are rewarded for acts of bravery or promoted. So such things encourage professionalism. And we will continue to talk about, the welfare of the police. Police have been agitating for the removal from the PENCOM. You can see a retired commissioner of police taking as less as 100 or 200,000 naira a month. So how do you encourage? So it encourages corruption. But if you have people that, at least when you retire comfortably and get your salary or pension that is reasonable. Housing schemes, for instance. If you provide all this, it's the same problem we are facing in Nigeria. If government can provide accommodation for civil servants, free medical services, education for them, the corruption would go down by more than 50%. The same thing in the police. But because government is not providing this, people go to use help to achieve what they want to achieve, saving corrupt money from corrupt practices, so that when they retire, they'll be comfortable. So it's a problem that government has to take the issue of professionalism, welfare and training of the police very seriously, because police remains the single organ in charge of maintenance of internal security. We must have that at the back of our mind.
Well, Mr. Mike, you're not talking about police. You've always agitated and also spoken that you've been a strong advocate of state policing.
Oh, sure.
But then, looking at Nigeria as it stands today, are we ready for that conversation?
Very much ready. And I can tell you, the president has bought into it, the National Assembly has bought into it, the governors have bought into it. So what's holding us? Only 2 days ago, if you remember, the president called on the National Assembly to fast track the establishment of the state police. That's the only way to go. People are talking about abuse of state police, and I ask, is the Nigerian police not being abused? Should we throw away the baby with the bathwater? Politics is local. Security challenges are local. Solutions to our security challenges are local. And you don't bring somebody from Maiduguri to Bayelsa that has not seen water before and expect him to perform. You have cultural differences, religious differences, and all the world. But if you have state police that can be controlled by the governor, they are very used to it. Look at the Amotekun.
But Mr. Mike, you agree also that you agree also there has been allegations of selections, VIPs submitting names of individuals during the recruitment process. Won't this further mar the whole state policing and further will be hijacked by the state apparatus now, if it's allowed to fly?
Now, we take Edo State example, for instance. In recruitment of the vigilante forces, they are recommended from the community, sent to the police, divisional police, for vetting and scrutiny, sent to the local government. Before you pass all this through the stages, you must have waited. I'm not saying it cannot be abused. There's no law, otherwise there won't be law. If the abuse is, that's why there's law. If there's any abuse, well, haven't you seen the National Assembly members posing with people they recruited into the police? Is that state police? And at the end of the day, they are posted to them as details. Are they serving the purpose of which they were recruited? So I don't buy that idea of saying that state police will be abused, as if Nigerian police. Is there anything in this country that is not abused?
I think Prof want to quickly react to the state policing. Are we ready for the conversation, Prof?
We are not ready. It's just like somebody who have not been to primary school, secondary school, and is in the university. I don't know how that is going to count out.
All right,
because on the policing network, state policing is not the first chapter of policing network. We have the grassroots policing. And then we come back to neighborhood policing. And then we come to community policing. Before we come to state policing, then national policing, then global policing, then policing the police. In our own trajectory, we left grassroots policing, neighborhood policing, and we came to community policing. Now they are advocating for state policing. And we have not even gone anywhere because we have not started from the beginning, which is supposed to be grassroots policing.
Then coming to I think you're not looking at it from the merit of it. The whole state
it's
policing.
Not a merit.
No, looking at it from the merit. Most of the police officers that deploy to communities, you don't even have a formal understanding of that community. You don't think looking at it from the merit of it will
wait,
further...
what is... I'm coming. If you ask... We said we started with a foundation that was 40 during Tafa Balogun when he introduced community policing. Because it's supposed to start with grassroots policing, then come to neighborhood policing, before community policing. Now we are jumping the guns to another state policing, so we are leaving a position of complexity down to more complex issues. That is why we are debating it. We are not saying state policing is not good. It is good, it's an advancement, but let's go back to where we know that we take records, we have data, we have templates. In those days, you go to a policeman comes to a village and said, we are looking for Mr. Sampson. They said one of his son did this. They would say, no, that boy cannot do it. Or that boy, no, he can do it. It was very simple.
Well, Prof, that's the merit of a state police and the community policing.
No, that is going back to grassroots policing. That is going back to grassroots policing.
So you think at this point that if we have a state policing structure, it will not narrow down to the
No, it will not.
So we should start from
it will not narrow down.
We should start from the local government policing, then let it ascend.
No, it will not narrow down. You know why it's not going to narrow down? Because I'm playing a political players. Remember, we don't have parties in Nigeria. We have platforms.
Well, it's quite
so when you go back to political security, you find out that what they are advocating for is not going to work for us.
Well,
we have to get from one tradit to another tradit.
Let's allow Mr. Mike.
What Prof is saying, we are saying the same thing in different ways. We are talking of grassroots. Where is the grassroots policing drawn from? It's not from the communities, from the grassroots. And who are going to be the members of the state police? The same grassroots and community. These people know. In fact, it becomes easier for recruitment because they know the criminals. When you see a criminal recruited, this man recruited into the police, people will resent. People will resent it. But they know the people, they know the criminals, they know the... But a situation where you see people in the Nigerian police, they've received only one training. They don't know the environment, no refresher courses. And they come to be deployed in a community where they don't even understand the language. The religion is different, culture is different. How do you build the confidence of giving the people information?
Well, our time is fast spent, but Mr. Mike, just to pick from your thoughts at that point. At this point, should we completely overhaul the Nigerian policing?
Yeah, I agree with the situation. Like I've said, the federal government is made up its mind on creation of state police. It must be created for us to move forward. And the Nigerian police must be restructured. I believe, if you remember, under Babangida, where the rank and file of the police were deployed to the various geopolitical zone. So that will complement the state police, because they all know the top officers, the commanders, can be from different zones, but the operatives, rank and file of the police, must be from the same geopolitical zone. They are still in the Nigerian police. And don't forget that there are different crimes. There are some that fall under the state police. There are some that they don't have powers to prosecute. Those ones are transferred to the Nigerian police. They should work hand in hand. It's not that if you create a state police, they are autonomous, they are independent of their own, operating without the Nigerian police.
Or would this further boost professionalism?
Oh, sure.
Even
sure,
within the
sure,
policing system?
Sure.
Prof, you want to quickly react to this, because I see you keep nodding and keep disagreeing even on some of these.
No, it's not as if I fully disagree, but we, just as I said earlier, state policing, okay, but from what?
If it will facilitate and accelerate professionalism within the Nigerian police force, you think this is not the right step, the right direction?
No, for now, I don't think we are matured for it.
Even though it's going to boost professionalism?
It's not going to boost professionalism, because the state still depends on the federal. Well, all the allocation the states are getting are from the federal. It's only when the states are independent of their own.
I believe the federal government might have a better modality than the better arrangement.
It shoots them, but I don't think it's going to assist us.
But again, finally, you recall that most of the state governments even fund the Nigerian police and other federal security agencies.
Under security votes?
Yes. Because the federal government cannot provide for such security architecture. So why don't you let them own their own security? We're practicing true federalism. I must practice true federalism.
I will ask a question. A federalism where you are depending on the central is not a federalism.
So you're saying it's a unitary system that is masking federalism?
Yeah, we are just misusing the words because we are still using an American system of government. But what I'm saying, every governor line up here to come and collect allocations every month. And that is not true federalism.
Well, Prof, it's quite a very bogus conversation looking at state policing. But then let's even look at professionalism as we begin to wrap up. Looking ahead, Mr. Mike, what step should the federal government take to ensure that we promote accountability within the security sector right now? Because we keep hearing the IG every now and then coming out to say, promise to punish and fish out bad eggs from the police force. And of course, these bad eggs, little or none of them is being fished out. In this situation, what should the federal government be doing to promote accountability?
Well, federal government should, as a matter of urgency, restructure, like I've said before, the Nigerian police. The Nigerian police is too centralized for effectiveness. It should also increase funding for the police. The National Assembly should carry out its oversight functions of looking at the budget of the police, whether it's being implemented or commensurate releases are made. Otherwise, if you make bogus budget without backing it financially, it's useless. If there's nothing you are achieving. The welfare of the police, training, purchase of equipment must take priority.
Well, Prof, in terms of security infrastructure and technological supply, what would be your advice to the federal government at this point in time?
If we want to go there, we have to look at so many major players, because the major players is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Is the security thread going through the executive? Is it going through the judiciary? And is it going through the legislation? The truth is that no. The rules and the laws they are making, it is only in Nigeria we have we don't have what we call security laws, because nobody in the National Assembly or even the parties to it has any atom of security knowledge to develop security laws for Nigeria. Two, the judiciary. It is, you go to EFCC can drag you to court. Even undercover police like the SSS drag people to court. So the police takes you to court. And you know the funny thing? The funny thing is that the police taking you to court will say Commissioner of Police versus so person. Inspector General of Police versus this person. This is not done anywhere in the world. Because he never investigated the case, he doesn't know the true meaning of the case, and that is why we have a lot of cases where garnishing in Nigeria alone has taken some trillions of naira away from us.
Prof,
so you have to look into this.
I wish we really have time to dissect some of these issues tonight, because the issues keep evolving, even within professional space and the Nigerian security personnel. But so this is what I want to say. Thank you so much, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, for finding out time to be with us here on Korero.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, Mr. Mike Ejiofor, for being with us here on Korero.
Thank you, Lord.
But viewers, this is how far we can go tonight on the show. Do not forget that you can leave your thoughts, you can leave your comments on our various social media handle currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the Rapid TV app from your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. My name is Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. To enjoy the rest of your night rest. Bye for now.
Korero, your front row seat to the most pressing issues from the corridors of power to the heart of our communities. We bring you unfiltered insight, fearless journalism, and the conversations that matter. And I invite you to this big conversation table as we analyze the top stories, ask the tough questions, and hold power to account. News that informs, analysis that empowers, debate that drives change. Korero, the big conversation, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on Rapid TV.
From Lagos to Lafia, from Port Harcourt to Portisco, Nigerians are talking. 2027 is here. We track the candidates and the coalition. We follow the money and the manifesto. We test promises against reality. On security, jobs, education, power, finance, and more. This is not just a campaign platform. It's a public square. We bring you debates, deep dives, and on-the-ground reports with data, not drama. It's the road to 2027 right here on Rapid TV every Thursday at 5 p.m. The road is long. Let's walk it together.
Every day, Nigerians pay for services, yet many still struggle to get the service they deserve. When service fails, the cost is trust, the cost is time, the cost is opportunity. I'm Cynthia Yinkere, and this is Customer Experience 360 with Cynthia Yinkere, where consumers, regulators, and businesses come together to ask the hard questions and demand better service, accountability, and solutions. Join me on Customer Experience 360 every Monday at 3 p.m. on Rapid TV, channel 176 on Star Time. Because service is everyone's business.
From the soil beneath our feet to the tables across the world, agriculture is the heartbeat of Nigeria's future. Yet challenges persist. Limited finance, outdated methods, policy gaps, and untapped opportunities. The Green Line is here to change that. A groundbreaking weekly television feature that connects policy with practice, farmers with markets, and innovation with impact. We dig deep into the full agricultural value chain, from land preparation to mechanization, financing, food preservation, exports, and beyond. The Green Line isn't just a show, it's a national development platform. Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. only on Rapid TV, Star Times channel 176, and online at www.rbnradiotv.com.
Meet the men and women shaping the future of Nigeria. Get to know your representatives at the National Assembly. From lawmaking to constituency projects, we'll take you behind the scenes and inside the chambers of the Nigerian National Assembly. Learn about the bills they are championing, the challenges they are facing, and the impacts they are making in their constituencies. We'll also bring you closer to the people they are serving and the stories that shape their work. Join us on NAS Watch every Friday on Rapid Television at 7 p.m. So get informed, get engaged, and get to know the leaders shaping Nigeria's future.
Host.
My name is Faith Dr. Joseph.
Name is Martha Alu.
My name is Victor Arke.
My name is Divine Alex.
My name is Esther Omen.
My name is Arthur James Bruce.
My name is Godwin Sunday.
I am Ijoma Victor.
My name is Cynthia Agbo.
Josephine Bitru.
I bet you already know that this is
Rapid Television.
Are you missing out on interviews, music, entertainment, thought-provoking discussions, and more? Don't sweat it, man. We've got you covered. No matter where you are, be part of the action 24/7, online and live.
Caesar Radio.
On Facebook, it's Rapid FM Umahia. On Instagram, it's Official Rapid FM. And on X, it is Rapid FM 965. Tune in to
Hello, good evening and welcome to Rapid Television News. I am Godwin Amundi. In the headlines, Tinubu appoints Shegu Aina as new JAMB registrar. ASU threatens nationwide shutdown over unimplemented agreements. FMDQ exchange posts 249.18 trillion naira turnover in 4 months. Sierra Leone receives Nigerian Ghanaian deportees from US. Super Eagles unveiled squad for Unity Cup Europe friendlies. Details of these and more will come to you in the bulletin. Stay with us. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Professor Segun Aina as the new registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, in a major leadership transition set to take effect after the exit of Professor Ishaq Oluyede on July 31, 2026. Professor Aina, a computer engineering expert and systems specialist, is widely regarded for his work in digital infrastructure and public sector reform. He holds degrees from the University of Kent and Loughborough University in the United Kingdom, alongside advanced training from the Lagos Business School. He currently teaches at Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and previously worked with JAMB during his National Youth Service. In addition, he has consulted for NECO, NAPTEB, and several education ministries on examination integrity and ICT systems. At 39, he is said to become one of the youngest registrars in JAMB's history, with the presidency expressing confidence in his capacity to deepen reforms. In another development now, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has released 279 unified tertiary matriculation examination results that were previously withheld following investigations into suspected malpractice. According to the board, the release comes after a detailed review of candidate cases where some results were declared due to lack of evidence, while others remain under investigation. JAMB's public communication advisor, Fabian Benjamin, explained that results linked to centers flagged for suspicious activities are still being scrutinized by its monitoring teams. He further warned that candidates found culpable after investigations will have their result cancelled. Meanwhile, affected candidates have been advised to check their status using the official SMS code 55019 or 66019. Additionally, the board stressed its commitment to maintaining examination integrity while ensuring fairness in the release process. It added that investigations are ongoing and more decisions will be communicated as verification work continues across examination centers nationwide. In elections matters now, 13 political parties contesting the June 20, 2026 Ekiti State governorship election have signed a peace accord, committing themselves to peaceful conduct before, during and after the polls. The signing ceremony held in Abuja brought together party leaders, election officials and security stakeholders under the supervision of the National Peace Committee and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Governor Biodun Oyebanji, who is also the APC candidate, joined all the stakeholders in affirming commitment to peace. INEC Chairman Professor Joasha Mopitan urged political actors to ensure the agreement goes beyond paper commitments and translates into real action on the ground. He also highlighted INEC's preparedness, including deployment plans across 16 local governments and over 2,400 polling units. Furthermore, security agencies and observers have been mobilized to ensure transparency. The Peace Committee warned that democracy can only strive where political actors prioritize tolerance, urging candidates to avoid violence, hate speech, and electoral misconduct. Civil society organizations have raised concerns over the credibility and inclusiveness of the June 20, 2026 Ekiti State governorship election, warning that urgent action is needed from electoral authorities, security agencies, and political actors. The group made the observations during a media briefing in Abuja while presenting their pre-election assessment report on the forthcoming poll. Our correspondent Linda Ike reports.
Civil society groups say, although the political atmosphere in Ekiti State remains relatively calm ahead of the governorship election, growing concerns over incumbency advantage, vote buying, and misinformation could undermine the credibility of the poll. The groups also expressed worries over INEC's level of preparedness, potential security threats in some local government areas, restrictions on media freedom, and the low participation of women, youth, and persons with disabilities in the electoral process.
The June 20, 2026 Ekiti governorship election is the first governorship election to be governed by the new Electoral Act 2026. It will therefore test the implementation of key provisions of the new Act and the yet to be issued INEC regulations and guidelines, including those on electronic results transmission administrative review of election results, and results collation. Failure here will not remain confined to Ekiti State. It will set a damaging precedent for the Osun State off-cycle governorship election coming soon after, and the general election.
The organizations called on INEC to ensure the timely release of election materials and funds while intensifying voter education and public awareness campaigns across the state. They also urged security agencies, political parties, and the media to play responsible roles in safeguarding the integrity of the election. According to the groups, the Ekiti governorship pool will serve as a major test case for the implementation of key provisions of the Electoral Act 2026.
The Election Observation Hub calls on all stakeholders to act decisively to consolidate the gains identified in this report and to address the outstanding risks. The Hub's recommendations are prioritized by urgency. The most critical actor at this stage is INEC, whose operational failure, if that happens, would cascade across all other states.
The civil society groups maintain that the credibility of the election will depend not only on the absence of violence, but also on transparency, inclusivity, and public confidence in the outcome. Abuja, Linda Ike, Rapid TV News.
Meanwhile, the Labour Party has announced the rescheduling of its 2026 primary elections, moving all presidential governorship, National Assembly and State Assembly primaries to May 30th. The party explained that the adjustment became necessary due to the coincidence of earlier scheduled dates with major national events, including the Eid al-Kabir celebration and the third anniversary of elected public office holders on May 29th. According to the National Publicity Secretary, Ken Asugwa, the decision reflects the party's commitment to inclusiveness and respect for national and religious observances. He added that the earlier dates, May 27th and May 29th, were no longer suitable for the conduct of such a large-scale internal electoral process. The party apologized for any inconvenience the change may cause aspirants and stakeholders. Labour Party stressed that it remains focused on ensuring a smooth and transparent primary process, while also accommodating members' participation in significant national and spiritual celebrations across the country. In Rivers State now, the political landscape has taken a new turn as the All Progressives Congress APC moves towards presenting Kingsley Chinda as its consensus governorship candidate ahead of the 2027 elections. This follows the withdrawal of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, former APC candidate Toye Cole and Dr. Dagorishima George Kelly from the race within 24 hours. Political observers say the development signals a major realignment within the party, with indications of behind-the-scenes consultations aimed at avoiding a divisive primary. Chinda, a seasoned lawmaker and former minority leader in the House of Representatives, is widely seen as a strong political figure with influence in Obio and Akpo local government areas. His emergence is being linked to ongoing power negotiations within Rivers APC structures. The development has also reignited discussions around the long-standing political tension between FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara, which continues to shape party alignments in the state. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Professor Nentawe Yelwada, has described the party's recent nationwide primaries as the most competitive in Nigeria's history, while also commending President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his moral and logistical support. He spoke to journalists in Lagos after a meeting with the president, noting that the high turnout reflected the APC's deep national reach and growing acceptance among Nigerians. According to him, the exercise was largely orderly, near rancor-free and well organized, with only minimal complaints recorded across the country, which he attributed to strict compliance with party guidelines on consensus and direct primaries.
We have few positions and we have thousands of people who have come to vie for this position across the country, the most competitive ever in the history of Nigeria. It shows how APC have penetrated all communities in Nigeria and how it's accepted by Nigerians, and how every facet of Nigeria wants to be a member of APC, and all leaders, people that want to become leaders in Nigeria, they've seen APC as the first choice. And I want to thank Nigerians for that support and acceptance of the party. I want to also thank our supporters for the disciplined approach they've given these processes. Almost near rancor-free, very organized, little complaints. It's usual people to complain in election processes, but it's near perfect.
Political observers say attention will now shift to how effectively post-primary grievances are managed in the coming weeks as parties reposition for broader national contest. Meanwhile, 8 senatorial and House of Representatives aspirants in the recently concluded All Progressives Congress APC primaries in Plateau State have rejected the outcome and formally petitioned the party's appeal committee over the alleged irregularities and electoral misconduct. The aggrieved aspirants include Senator Dickett Blank, Ambassador Chris Giwa, Barrister Beatrice Yang Z, Senior Advocate of Nigeria Komsol, Dr. Ton Shinen, John Gosak, Senator Estefanos Gyang, retired Air Vice Marshal Napoleon Bailey, and Chief Ephraim Usman. They submitted their petitions at the APC State Secretariat in Jos, expressing concern over what they described as a lack of transparency and due process in the conduct of the primaries. Speaking on behalf of the group, Senator Dickett Plank alleged that elections were not conducted in several areas, while others were either inconclusive or improperly handled. He also claimed there were cases of unfair vote allocation, exclusion of party agents, and denial of access to official results, which were instead circulated through unofficial channels. Despite their grievances, the aspirants reaffirmed loyalty to the APC and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, but insisted that internal democracy must be upheld. They are now urging the appeal committee to investigate the complaints and ensure strict compliance with the party's electoral guidelines. Meanwhile, a federal high court sitting in Abuja has rejected applications filed by Governor Ademola Adeleke and 3 orders seeking to join the suit challenging the deregistration of several political parties, including the African Democratic Congress (ADC) and Accord Party. Justice Peter Lifu ruled that the applicants' political parties were already part of the case, making individual joinder unnecessary. The court also refused an application to stay proceedings, noting that the matter had reached an advanced stage and further delay would cause hardship to other litigants. Additionally, the judge reserved judgment for June 5th after hearing argument from all parties. The suit filed by the Incorporated Trustees of the National Forum of Former Legislators seeks the deregistration of some parties over alleged constitutional breaches, while the plaintiffs argued that affected parties failed to meet electoral requirements. The defendant insisted the suit lacked merit and should be dismissed with cast. The court will now deliver judgment in June. The Patriots, a group of eminent non-partisan Nigerians and elder statesmen led by Chief Emeka Ayoku, has expressed concern over the high cost of politics and the absence of ideology-driven political parties, which they said has encouraged frequent defections and weakened democratic values. Looking ahead to the 2027 general elections, they called on political actors to focus campaigns on issues rather than personal attacks, and urged Nigerians to vote for candidates committed to restructuring governance. They also warned that the international community would closely monitor the conduct of the elections. The Patriots also raised serious concerns over worsening insecurity across the country, especially recent abductions and killings in Oyo and Ekiti states. At a press conference attended by prominent figures including Professor Pat Otomi, Professor Anthony Killer, and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the group decried what they described as the unchecked activities of bandits across several regions, including the Northeast, Northwest, North Central, and parts of the Southwest. They warned that the rising number of internally displaced persons and the inability of farmers to return to their farms are deepening the threat of food insecurity nationwide. The group urged the federal government to treat insecurity as a national survival crisis and consider establishing a special committee to advise on comprehensive solutions. As the Nigeria Navy marks its 70th anniversary, the service has highlighted major achievements in maritime security, anti-piracy operations and indigenous naval innovation. At a press news conference in Abuja, naval authorities also unveiled a long-term strategic plan aimed at transforming the Navy into a technologically advanced maritime force by the year 2030. The report. The Nigerian Navy launched its 70th anniversary celebrations. It unveiled an ambitious vision to transform into a technologically advanced maritime force by 2030. Speaking on behalf of the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Idris Abbas, the Chief of Policy and Plans, Rear Admiral Akinlola Olatunde, says the Navy is now preparing for threats that go far beyond piracy, oil theft and coastal crime.
Let me please draw our attention to the Combined Maritime Task Force. This initiative is under the auspices of the African Union Peace and Security Council, which on 23rd April 2025 endorsed formally the Combined Maritime Task Force as a standing and ready to deploy maritime force for the Gulf of Guinea. It is a multinational approach to be able to combat the transnational organized crimes that we have across the 6,000-kilometer expanse of the Gulf of Guinea.
While no submarine acquisition was announced, the Navy made clear that future operations can no longer ignore underwater defense. The leadership also acknowledged persistent gaps, including heavy reliance on foreign hardware and technical support. Vice Admiral Abbas stressed the need to accelerate local research and indigenous production to reduce vulnerability.
The theme is leveraging technology for enhanced maritime security in Africa. The Nigerian Navy recognizes that the evolving maritime security challenges demand innovative strategies beyond traditional frameworks.
The Navy cited its removal from the global piracy list as a major milestone, crediting sustained operations, government backing, and international cooperation. It added that surveillance and rapid response missions are being expanded across strategic zones, alongside deeper security cooperation with West African states.
Nationally, the Nigerian Navy, through its effort, has ensured that Nigeria has remained fully delisted from the International Maritime Bureau's list of piracy-prone nations since 2022. This has had attendant benefit for lowering shipping, trade, and insurance costs.
Vastry activities include nationwide Jumat prayers, interdenominational services, novelty sport in Abuja, and a civilian sea experience program for 725 participants selected from over 14,000 applicants. In a key regional step, the President will inaugurate a combined maritime task force for the Gulf of Guinea under the African Union Peace and Security Council, with Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and the Gambia as members. The Navy says the goal is to move from reactive coastal security to becoming the dominant force, shaping stability and trade protection in the Gulf of Guinea. In Oyo State now, Governor Seyi Makinde has signed Executive Order 001 of 2026, regulating vigilante and other community-based security organizations operating across the state. The governor says the directive became necessary to ensure that all associations and groups involved in security-related services operate within a clear legal framework that promotes peace, order, and the rule of law. Speaking at the signing ceremony in Ibadan, Makinde explained that rising security challenges and the increasing number of uncoordinated groups made regulation unavoidable. Stressed that security remains a collective responsibility, adding that all groups must now be properly registered, documented, and monitored by the state government. The governor also warned against ethnic profiling and inflammatory narratives cautioning social cultural groups against sanctions that could trigger tension or confrontation. He further assured residents that the administration is working with security agencies to strengthen coordination and respond effectively to emerging threats across communities. This comes after the recent adoption of students and teachers in Urive local government area, assuring that efforts are ongoing to secure their safe release in collaboration with security agencies. Meanwhile, the Benin zone of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has threatened to shut down public universities over what it describes as the federal government's failure to fully implement the 2025 agreement reached with the union. Speaking in Benin City, the zonal chairman, Professor Monday Obafin, says the government has continued to implement the agreement in a selective and distorted manner. He accused authorities of failing to properly mainstream allowances such as aimed academic allowances, consolidated academic tool allowances, and professorial allowances into salaries as agreed. According to him, this violates the spirit of the agreement and undermines academic welfare across Nigerian universities. ASU also faulted the government for failing to inaugurate the Implementation Monitoring Committee, which was meant to ensure proper execution and prevent bureaucratic delays. The union warned that continued neglect of these issues could destabilize the university system nationwide. And in health matters now, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has assured Nigerians that there is no cause for panic over the Ebola virus, insisting that the country has the capacity to respond effectively to any outbreak. Speaking during a television interview, the head of Health Emergency Preparedness at the NCDC, Dr. Biodun Oguniye, says fear should not dominate public response, noting that Nigeria has previously handled Ebola outbreaks successfully. He recalled the 2014 outbreak, which was contained within a short period, earning global commendation. According to him, Nigeria has since strengthened its health systems, laboratory networks, and emergency coordination structures. He added that the country now has reference laboratories in Abuja and Lagos capable of prompt detection, unlike in earlier years. He emphasized that preparedness has improved significantly due to previous experience and continuous system testing during health emergencies. Now to Abia State, the government says ongoing investments in healthcare, road infrastructure, and education are beginning to yield positive results across the state. At a press briefing in Umuahia, the Commissioner for Information, Prince Oke Kano, disclosed that malaria cases dropped significantly in 2025 following collaboration with national health agencies, while confirming that no cases of Lassa fever, COVID-19, or Ebola have been recorded in the state. He also highlighted plans to expand healthcare facilities alongside ongoing road projects and a 5-day STEM program for students. Our correspondent, Faith Kevin, reports.
From hospitals to classrooms and community roads, many residents in Abia State are beginning to feel the impact of ongoing government projects in their daily lives. At a press briefing in Umuahia, Commissioner for Information Prince Oke Kano said malaria cases recorded in the state dropped in 2025, a development health authorities linked to ongoing collaboration with the National Malaria Elimination Program. The government also says additional healthcare facilities will soon open to improve access to treatment, especially for families in underserved communities.
The National Malaria Elimination Program, led by the National Coordinator, Dr. Ms. Ogunafo, conducted an advocacy visit to Abia State. The team congratulated the state, congratulated Abia State for the reduction in prevalence of malaria in the state from 16.5% in 2024 to 11.5% in 2025. The team announced plans to conduct a mass distribution of 3 million insecticide-treated mosquito nets sometime in September 2026.
Residents have also been reassured following concerns over public health, as authorities confirmed that no cases of Lassa fever, COVID-19 or Ebola have been reported in the state. Citizens were, however, advised to remain cautious and maintain proper hygiene around livestock and food handling.
The World Health Organization, WHO, and the National Council for Disease Control, NCDC, have issued a public health advisory on the Ebola outbreak in DRC, Congo, and Uganda, thereby declaring it a public health emergency of international concern. However, there is no cause for alarm, as there is no case of Ebola in the state or in Nigeria. Members of the public are advised to take their health issues very serious during this period, while ensuring personal and environmental hygiene. I also advise to avoid contact with rats and rodents. Let me inform us that there is no case of disease of public concern in the state, and here I'm referring to no confirmed cases of COVID-19, Lassa fever, Mpox, diphtheria, yellow fever, cholera, or rabies.
For the young people, the focus is also shifting towards the future through a new 5-day STEM program, where secondary school students will be introduced to science, technology, and renewable energy skills aimed at preparing them for opportunities in a changing world.
In the case of Abia State, since we've got this very useful committee together, we want to also look at using the same committee to help us develop a research and innovation policy for the state. So that is an additional state initiative that we're thrusting upon the committee to do as well. And I think that will be something that's different from what other states are doing, and I particularly think that will be, it's a more long-term thing. It's not just look at the research projects now, it's look at how we can have a policy that will encourage research that is useful to the state, that is using resources that the state has, and of course that projects that can be commercializable as well. So it's something that we're quite excited about. Thank you.
For residents, the conversation is no longer about projects on paper, but about how safer healthcare, better roads, and improved learning opportunities could shape everyday life across Abia communities. Faith Kevin reporting from Umuahia for Rapid TV News.
Now there's a breaking news now. The presidency has dismissed reports alleging that President Bola Tinubu plans to rename Nigeria the United States of Nigeria and abolish Sharia law in the north, describing the claims as false and misleading. In a statement issued by the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the presidency says the viral report was fabricated and based on an anonymous source aimed at creating division and political tension ahead of the January 2026 general elections. The statement also denied claims that a constitutional amendment bill titled Project True Federation is before the National Assembly on schedule for submission in December. According to the presidency, no such proposal exists. It urged Nigerians to disregard the report and other similar publications, warning that they are the handiwork of individuals seeking to destabilize the country and undermine national unity ahead of the elections. You're still watching Rapid Television News, and we'll go on a short break. When we come back, the news continues shortly. Stay with us.
From Lagos to Lafia, from Port Harcourt to Portisco, Nigerians are talking. 2027 is here. We track the candidates and the coalition. We follow the money and the manifesto. We test promises against reality. On security, jobs, education, power, finance, and more. This is not just a campaign platform. It's a public square. We bring you debates, deep dives, and on-the-ground reports with data, not drama. Is the road to 2027 right here on Rapid TV every Thursday at 5 p.m. The road is long. Let's walk it together.
Every day, Nigerians pay for services, yet many still struggle to get the service they deserve. When service fails, the cost is trust, the cost is time, the cost is opportunity. I'm Cynthia Yinkeri, and this is Customer Experience 360 with Cynthia Yinkeri, where consumers, regulators, and businesses come together to ask the hard questions and demand better service, accountability, and solutions. Join me on Customer Experience 360 every Monday at 3 p.m. on Rapid TV, channel 176 on Star Times, because service is everyone's business.
Correro, your front row seat to the most pressing issues from the corridors of power to the heart of our communities. We bring you unfiltered insight, fearless journalism, and the conversations that matter. And I invite you to this big conversation table as we analyze the top stories, ask the tough questions, and hold power to account. News that informs, analysis that empowers, debate that drives change. Correro, the big conversation, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on Rapid TV.
If you're just joining us, you're still on to Rapid Television News. Now let's take you to some business stories. Nigeria's financial market, the MDQ Exchange, recorded a total market turnover of 249.18 trillion naira between January and April 2026, reflecting sustained strong activity across fixed income, money market and foreign exchange transactions. According to the Group Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Tomis Sekoni, the figure equivalent to about $180.85 billion. The performance shows a significant increase of 55.98 trillion naira compared to the 193.20 trillion naira recorded in the first quarter alone. Over 77 trading days, these translated into an average daily turnover of 3.24 trillion naira, slightly lower than the previous quarter's daily average. Analysts say the figures highlight continued investor participation in Nigeria's financial market, despite macroeconomic pressures and tight liquidity conditions across the system. Up next, more business reports coming your way.
We begin in Nigeria, where the federal government says it is intensifying efforts to improve electricity supply to industrial clusters and manufacturing hubs across the country. Officials say the move is aimed at reducing production costs for businesses and improving industrial output amid rising energy expenses. The government noted that improved power access remains critical to supporting small and medium-scale enterprises and attracting new investments. The manufacturers have repeatedly raised concerns over the high cost of self-generated electricity and its impact on production and pricing. The industry analysts believe better electricity supply could improve productivity and reduce inflationary pressure linked to manufacturing costs. Stakeholders are now watching for implementation timelines and financing arrangements for the proposed energy improvements. Still in Nigeria, the Nigerian banking sector is witnessing increased digital transaction volumes as financial institutions continue expanding electronic payment services across the country. The industry reports show stronger adoption of mobile banking, digital transfers, and agency banking channels among businesses and consumers. Analysts say the trend reflects Nigeria's growing transition toward a cash-light economy, driven by fintech innovation and broader financial inclusion. The banks are also increasing investments in cyber security and digital infrastructure as competition intensifies within the financial services sector. The financial experts believe the expansion of digital banking could improve efficiency and deepen access to financial services nationwide. The development comes amid continued regulatory focus on digital payments and financial technology growth. On the international scene, the global technology shares gained attention after NVIDIA continued to benefit from rising global demand for artificial intelligence infrastructure and semiconductor technology. The investors are increasingly positioning around AI-focused companies as businesses worldwide accelerate spending on data centers and machine learning tools. The technology analysts say the AI boom is reshaping investment trends across the global stock market and driving competition among major firms. The U.S. technology stocks traded mixed during the session as investors balanced strong AI optimism against concerns over interest rates and inflation. Market experts believe artificial intelligence remains one of the strongest drivers of global equity market sentiment in 2026. The sector is also attracting increased corporate spending as companies seek long-term productivity and automation advantages. And that's it on the business news update. I am Divine Alex. Good evening. Now the Rapid TV News Hour continues. Please stay with us.
Thanks, Divine Alex, for that business stories. Now let's take you to some international stories. Sierra Leone has received a group of West African migrants deported from the United States under a new immigration enforcement policy. A first flight carrying 9 deportees landed at the international airport near Freetown on Wednesday morning, according to officials and eyewitness reports. Foreign Minister Timothy Musa Kaba confirmed the arrivals, noting that the individuals came from Nigeria, Ghana, Guinea and Senegal. Authorities say the deportees were received by police, health officials and government representatives who immediately began processing and providing support. A health ministry official, Doris Barr, described their condition as traumatized, saying many had been held in detention for months before repatriation. She added that the individuals would be temporarily housed in a hotel before arrangements are completed for their return to their respective home countries within 2 weeks. The Sierra Leonean government says it has agreed to receive up to 300 deportees annually from the United States, but only from ECOWAS member states. Officials explained that the arrangement includes a 90-day stay period before onward movements to countries of origin. The United States is also providing about $1.5 million to support humanitarian and operational costs linked to the program. Meanwhile, the government of Ghana has postponed the planned evacuation of its citizens from South Africa following renewed xenophobic attacks, with more than 800 Ghanaians already registered for repatriation. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the evacuation exercise, initially scheduled for May 21, 2026, has been delayed by a few days to allow completion of mandatory legal and operational requirements. Officials explained that passenger screening, interagency coordination, and flight clearance procedures under South African regulations necessitated the adjustment. The ministry says the large number of affected citizens also required additional logistical planning to ensure a safe and orderly evacuation process. It added that Ghana's High Commission in Pretoria is working closely with South African authorities to finalize arrangements and accelerate the process as quickly as possible. In another development in the United States now, Radio Caroline has apologized after mistakenly announcing the death of King Charles III due to a computer error that triggered an emergency broadcast protocol. According to reports, the force on an announcement was aired from the station's main studio in Essex on Tuesday afternoon. Station manager Peter Murray explained that the pre-installed system designed for Monarch death protocols was accidentally activated, leading to the incorrect broadcast. Says the station immediately went silent once the error was detected, before normal programming was restored and an apology issued on air. The incident, which also affected playback availability on the station's website, has since drawn public attention due to the sensitivity of the message and the royal visit ongoing in Northern Ireland at the time. Radio Caroline described the incident as regrettable and extended apologies to both the monarchy and its listeners, stressing that it was not a deliberate action. Now let's take you to some entertainment stories now. Comedian and actor Basket Mouth has criticized what he describes as a growing culture of rewarding failure while ignoring excellence in Nigeria's media space. He accused some bloggers of turning scandals and negativity into premium content while downplaying genuine achievement. In a post shared on his Instagram page, the award-winning entertainer said society often allows embarrassing moments to trend for days, while milestones such as business growth, job creation, sold-out shows, and innovation receive little attention or recognition. He called for a cultural shift that prioritizes celebrating discipline, creativity, consistency, and hard work instead of gossip and outrage. Basket Mouth warned that constant application of negativity risks distorting societal values and discouraging excellence. He questioned when mediocrity became more visible than brilliance, urging Nigerians to rethink what they amplify online. According to him, a society that consistently celebrates failure will eventually normalize it, while gradually ignoring true achievements and undermining long-term national progress. Up next is more entertainment news.
From celebrity baby joy to heated social media backlash and global praise for Nigerian talents, it's been another eventful week in entertainment. Let's get straight into the stories making waves today. Now, Nollywood's ultimate it girl, Sharon Uja, has officially entered her mama era after announcing the birth of her first child with husband, Ugo Onwoke. The actress revealed that she quietly carried her pregnancy away from the public eye, a revelation that immediately sent fans and celebrities into a frenzy across social media. In the now viral announcement post, Sharon appeared glowing in a minimalist black bralette paired with oversized cargo trousers, proudly showing off her baby bump while standing beside her husband, who matched her energy throughout the intimate reveal. Sharon described her newborn son as the most handsome baby boy she had ever seen, adding that she remains overwhelmed with gratitude and joy over the new phase of her life. Fans have since praised the actress for keeping such a personal journey private while celebrating her transition into motherhood. Elsewhere, actress Mercy Johnson has found herself at the center of online criticism following her unveiling as ambassador for Girls Tag, a menstrual care brand reportedly selling period kits for 25,000 naira. The launch, which also featured her daughter, Purity Okoje, and later actress Regina Daniels, quickly sparked reactions online, with many Nigerians describing the price as unrealistic and insensitive considering the country's current economic situation. While some social media users defended the product as a premium brand targeted at a specific audience, critics argued that menstrual products are necessities and should never be treated like luxury items. The controversy has since reignited conversations around period poverty, accessibility, and the commercialization of essential healthcare products in Nigeria, with many questioning how the average Nigerian girl can realistically afford such products monthly. And finally, Afrobeat has been acknowledged and appreciated by Senegalese-American singer Akon. Speaking during a recent episode of the We Need to Talk podcast, the music star described his collaboration with Michael Jackson as the proudest moment of his career, explaining that despite already being a celebrity at the time, he still considered himself a child compared to the legendary pop icon. Akon also reflected on his long history of supporting African music, mentioning that he once worked closely with Nigerian acts including P-Square and Wizkid through his involvement with Banky W's Empire Meets Entertainment. The singer went further to describe Nigerians as the most intelligent people on earth, praising the country's contribution to the global rise of Afrobeat and African entertainment. And that's a wrap on today's entertainment stories, from Sharon Uja embracing motherhood to the heated debate surrounding Mercy Johnson's endorsement deal and Akon's glowing praise for Nigerians and Afrobeats. I still say one thing remains clear: whether through film, music, or social conversations, African entertainment continues to dominate headlines and spark discussions around the world. I am Peace Ezekiel. Rapid TV News continues shortly.
Thanks, Peace Ezekiel, for that entertainment stories. Now let's take you to sports. Super Eagles head coach Eric Chile has released his squad list for the upcoming Unity Cup and international friendlies against Poland and Portugal. For the Unity Cup tournament at Chariton Athletic Stadium in London, Chile included captain Wilfred Ndidi, goalkeeper Francis Uzoho, forward Terem Murphy, Akko Adams, and several home-based and first-time invitees as Nigeria aims to defend its title. The team will face Zimbabwe on May 26th with a possible final against Jamaica or India. Meanwhile, for the European friendlies, the coach called up established stars including Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Alex Iwobi, Calvin Bassey, and Maduka Okoye. The Super Eagles will play Poland in Warsaw on June 3rd before facing Portugal in Leiria on June 10th. Chile's squad blends experience and new talent as Nigeria prepares for competitive qualifiers and long-term international tournaments, with expectations high for strong performances across both futures. Meanwhile, several members of Iran's national football team have begun the process of securing U.S. visas ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. According to report, at least 4 players and a team official visited the U.S. Embassy in Ankara to submit their applications as part of preparations for the tournament co-hosted by the United States, Mexico, and Canada. The squad is currently in Turkey for a training camp ahead of pre-World Cup friendlies. The development comes amid strained diplomatic relations between Iran and the United States, though football authorities say FIFA protocols are expected to guide the process smoothly. Iran's team, known as Team Melli, will also undergo similar procedures at the Canadian Embassy. The squad is scheduled to play warm-up matches against Gambia and Mali before heading to the tournament, where they will face New Zealand, Belgium, and Egypt in the group stage as they pursue a historic first knockout stage qualification. UEFA is planning a major overhaul of the qualification system for the 2030 FIFA World Cup and future European Championships, with a new format inspired by the UEFA Champions League's Swiss system. As reported by the Economic Times on Thursday, the proposed structure would replace the traditional qualifying groups with a league-style competition designed to create more competitive matches and reduce the number of one-sided futures involving Europe's strongest and weakest nations. Under the plan, the 36 highest-ranked European national teams will compete in League A, divided into 3 groups of 12 teams. Instead of playing every nation home and away, each team would face 6 different opponents during the qualification campaign. Lower-ranked nations will compete in a separate League B structure, with playoff opportunities expected to remain part of the pathway to major tournaments. UEFA is still finalizing the full qualification process, but League A group winners are expected to qualify automatically for tournament finals. And that's about the size of the news tonight. But before we go, here is a recap of our major stories. Tinubu appoints Segun Aina as new JAMB registrar. ASU threatens nationwide shutdown over unimplemented agreements. FMDQ exchange post 249.18 trillion naira turnover in 4 months. Sierra Leone receives Nigerian Ghanaian deportees from US. And in sport, we tell you that Super Eagles unveil squad for Unity Cup Europe friendlies. Thanks very much for being part of us. You can as well follow Follow us up on all our social media platforms. And on behalf of the production team, I am Godwin Amundi. Do have yourself a lovely night rest. Good night.